Hi, my name is Brad. My topic is global warming. My claim is that personal automobiles do not cause a contribution to global warming. I'm sure all of us have heard of global warming before. It's nothing new, really. A lot of people are blaming vehicles for global warming. They're releasing like zero emission vehicles and stuff, saying that cars cause global warming. I have my three claims are cars emit carbon dioxide, water vapor, and nitrogen. We cannot prove that carbon dioxide is responsible for climate change, and carbon dioxide is increasing forestation. So, what comes out of cars' exhaust? Cars emit nitrogen, carbon dioxide, water vapor, and carbon monoxide. Nitrogen makes up 71% of the total exhaust out of cars. Carbon dioxide is 14%, water vapor is 12%, and carbon monoxide is 1 to 2%. We cannot prove that carbon dioxide is responsible for climate change. According to the NASA Earth Observatory, according to an ongoing temperature analysis conducted by scientists at NASA's Goddard Institute for Space Studies, the global temperature on Earth has increased by about 0.8 degrees Celsius or 1.4 degrees Fahrenheit. The respective increase in carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has increased from 280 parts per million to 400 parts per million, which is a 43% increase, which is not directly related to the amount that the temperature has increased. According to the IPCC, or the Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change, they say the Earth's atmosphere ocean dynamics is chaotic. Its evolution is sensitive to small perturbations in initial conditions. This sensitivity limits our ability to predict the detailed evolution of weather. Inevitable errors and uncertainties in the starting conditions of a weather forecast amplify through forecasts, as well as uncertainty in initial conditions. Such predictions are also degraded by errors and uncertainties in our ability to represent accurately the significant climate process. In practice, detailed weather prediction is limited to about 2 weeks. So they're saying even though we can make inferences based on the increases in carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, we can't really predict what the future is going to hold for us. According to Robert M. Carter, PhD professor of environmental and earth sciences at James Cook University, it says carbon dioxide is not a pollutant, but a naturally occurring beneficial trace gas in the atmosphere. For the past few million years, the Earth has existed in a state of relative carbon dioxide starvation compared with earlier periods. There is no empirical evidence that levels double or even triple those of today will be harmful climatically or otherwise. As a vital element in plant photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is the basis of the planetary food chain, literally the staff of life. Its increase in the atmosphere leads mainly to the greening of the planet. To label carbon dioxide as a pollutant is an abuse of language, logic, and science. And that leads me to my next point, that carbon dioxide is increasing deforestation. According to a study done between 1982 and 2010, leaf clover on plants rose by 11% in arid areas, including the southwestern United States, Australia's outback, the Middle East, and some parts of Africa. The results were published May 15th in the journal Geophysical Research Letters. First, the researchers created a computer model that predicted carbon dioxide's fertilization effect on plants. The model estimated that plant foliage would increase 5 to 10% during the 30-year study period. Atmospheric carbon dioxide rose 14% within this time. With satellite imagery, the team tested their model against real-world changes between 1982 and 2010. The model proved a good match to the greener plants, yielding strong support for the hypothesis that carbon dioxide is driving plant growth. So, in conclusion, cars are not causing global warming. They only emit 14% of our carbon dioxide emissions, and carbon dioxide is not really a pollutant. It's actually natural in the air. It only makes up 0.039% of our atmosphere, and it's actually contributing to greening of the planet.
Right. Structurally, I think you're in pretty good shape. I do think that the secondary points in the preview are not really labeled as claims. They are a little bit more clear as claims in the body of the speech. I thought you had a nice explanation of your focus on automobiles at the beginning, but the truth of the matter is, as the speech goes on, it seems to be less and less about the impact of automobiles on the atmosphere and more about CO2. So I'm not even sure that you need that first point, and you might want to change the claim and just focus on whether or not the CO2 is the culprit that we're talking about. I'm not saying, that doesn't make the car issue irrelevant, but it makes it so much smaller a part of the argument than it seems like it was going to be at the beginning. The bigger parts of the argument have to do with the impact of CO2 on the atmosphere, how substantial it is, and what the ability of us to predict that impact is. I like the fact that you had some information from the IPCC that suggests that there are restrictions in their ability to reach particular conclusions. I think that since they're the main advocates and source of information on this issue, that it's appropriate to note the limitations that they impose on themselves. And then when you add in criticisms from others, for instance, the one guy who said to treat carbon dioxide as if it's a pollutant is foolish and a misuse of language, I think that builds. You've got a piece of reluctant testimony from the IPCC, you've got a piece of critical testimony from this other authority, and so I think that builds a pretty strong argument on that particular position. You did a good job citing your evidence for the most part. You went through all those statistics on the automobiles. I didn't really get a source citation on that, where what the different percentages were of the different types of pollutants. You mentioned several other variations of pollutants, although they don't appear to be important. You're really just focusing on the CO2 element, so I think you could probably cut down on that a little bit. Like I said, I thought that you did a pretty good job citing authorities and offering testimony that criticizes the concept that CO2 is an important component in this process, or that it's measurable. It wasn't quite clear to me why you had to have like a 43% increase in temperature if we had a 43% increase in CO2. Your analysis on that was not particularly clear, but the explanation on the third point, where you're suggesting that CO2 has a benefit to the environment because it increases, I think it's leaf covering and plant growth. You did a pretty good job on that. And of course, one of the things that you might talk about is how the plant growth then balances those things out. Like it does, like the ocean activity creates chaotic climate issues. I think that the plants probably have a similar sort of impact, and there could be a clear explanation of that. The delivery is a little bit problematic. You have almost no audience contact. There's a lot of reading that's going on. The pacing is a little bit deliberate. Like I said, I think you developed the second and the third points pretty well. The first point is there, but it's not really the crux of your issue, even though that's the main proposition that you've got. At the end, it sounds like it's a more general criticism of CO2's relationship to global climate change than just automobiles' impact on that.
All right. Thank you.